Oh, a little technical difficulty there. Let's get rolling. And welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show. It is show number 79, back in the home office, back on air, and excited to be back on. We're going to give a couple shout outs before we get rolling. We welcome in our guests from Facebook Live. We welcome in our guests from iTunes, and certainly our friends in Canada that are listening on Voice Ed Radio in Canada, our friend Stephen Hurley out there broadcasting live. So excited to be on those groups. And I know we are in talks with Disrupt Ed TV to get the podcast live on Disrupt Ed TV as well. They're doing some great work there. So we are going to get that rolling soon on Disrupt Ed TV. I do want to take a moment to give Frank Pregiato a shout out. Frank is a student in my leadership class at LIU Hudson in Middletown, New York. And Frank just lost his dad tragically. And I do want to recognize Frank. He's a young father, and he's getting his administrative degree and doing some great things in leadership. And he did lose his dad this week. So Frank's a teacher at Nyack Schools in Nyack, New York. And certainly want to send my condolences to Frank and his family for the loss of his dad. So we wanted to start with that. Second thing we wanted to do here before we get rolling, the next journal is out, the Coaching and Leadership Journal. This is the March edition. I just got it yesterday. If you don't know what this is my friend Dan Spanauer puts this out, the Coaching and Leadership Journal. This is a 10 or 12 page thing. There's a bunch of stories. There's a bunch of great motivational stuff here. Our guest tonight, Dr. Rick Jetter, he's an English teacher, so I'm sure he's always looking for great content. But as a leader, as a teacher, as a coach, this is a great resource. And I thank Dan for our relationship and getting to know him and his work. So here's the latest episode, and I wanted to give a shout out. Dan does offer a discount for Education and Leadership and Beyond listeners, and that would be ELB20. If you check him out at the leadershippublishingteam.com, his website, you type in ELB20, you can get a 20% discount on that annual subscription. It'll cost you a little bit more than $100. Well worth it. So let's get started here on show number 79. Excited to be here in the home office and ready to get going. We're going to meet Dr. Rick Jetter. I keep wanting to say Jeter. He's got pizzazz like Derek Jeter, but it's Jetter. And we're going to meet Dr. Rick in a moment. But Dr. Rick, in addition to being a father and a husband and a family man, a teacher, he was a former superintendent. He has a company called Pushing Boundaries with his partner, Rebecca Coda. And they do a lot of work in education, consulting, writing. They do a ton of stuff, and I can't wait to talk to Rick about that. But I love the name, right? Pushing Boundaries. And you as a leader, how do you push boundaries? And what boundaries do you push? Is it too much? Is it too little? How do you know when to push? How do you know when to back off? But are you pushing the boundaries? Are you stretching things? Are you moving things in the right direction? Because sometimes you do have to push those boundaries to get where you need to be. Whether it's you fighting for things or pushing for things in your budget, right? You're advocating. You want to have devices in every kid's hand. You want to have Chromebook carts in every classroom. You want to have smart TVs in every classroom. Are you pushing the people that write the checks? Speaking, things like that. Are you challenging teachers to do more, to go above and beyond, to go in an area maybe where they are not comfortable, right? To get better. How can you move the dial if you are not pushing? The other thing, it can also be very positive. Are you pushing the limit in what you can do? Sending positive notes to teachers, sending postcards home to students, making those phone calls. I've been watching Joe Sanfilippo's 1 Minute Walk to Work about making phone calls home and telling parents not only their kid is great, but why their kid is great. And that's impacted me greatly. And that's something that I've made sure that I at least do once a day, about calling parents and telling them that. One of the phrases that is a pet peeve of mine, I'm going to ask Dr. Rick tonight what's a pet peeve of his, but one of the pet peeves that I have is when people say, this is the way it's always been done. And us in education, us leaders, we have to push boundaries. We want to be respectful of others. We want to respect others' space. We want to, treat people with respect. But that concept of pushing boundaries in education is important. And just because it's always been done that way doesn't mean you have to continue to do that way. So ask yourself those questions. How do you push boundaries, and what boundaries do you push? Because as a leader, it's your job, it's your responsibility to help move the dial, to help create great experiences for kids, support your staff, engage your staff in meaningful professional development, all of those kinds of things. And those are all pushing boundaries. So that's the name of Dr. Rick's company and Rebecca Coda's company in education. And we're going to welcome Dr. Rick into the program here. We're going to cue him up. Let me find you, Rick. There you are. Boom. And there he is, live from Buffalo, everyone. Welcome, Dr. Rick, to the program.
How you doing, brother?
I am doing great. Thrilled to have you on.
Likewise. Thanks so much for having me, man. Long time it's been in the running for me and you to connect, and it's my honor.
Yeah. We connected on social media. I was following Rick's stuff. And again, I don't know who reached out to who, but, I look forward to meeting you in person. But nice to certainly connect here. 2 New Yorkers here.
Yeah, baby.
At different parts of the state. But Rick, I know you're just recovering from a tremendous windstorm up there. You got your power back. You got school back in session. So we have a lot to get to. The first thing I want to do is you heard the opening concept about pushing boundaries, and I know this is new for you and Rebecca. Tell me about this journey, Rick, that you're on with pushing boundaries.
Yeah, you know what? Look, I don't want to promote a company. It's not about promoting a company. I just want to talk about the concept.
Yeah.
And look at here's what Rebecca and I, through the work we've written and the things we've done, we decided we kind of found these trends. We're like, wait a second. Number one, everything we're writing is this anti-status quo manifesto, right? Things that we want to shoot out there for people to be like, wow, we want to be a part of that. And then the people that we started to hang out with and be part of our PLN were also people who were pushing against the status quo in any area, right? Curriculum instruction, policy construction, procedures, things that they wanted to change in their districts. So we were scratching our heads. We were like, wait a second. This is what we want to do. We want to be around people. We want to write about anything that pushes on the status quo. So we started playing around with the concept, and we came up with this icon that is so simple, right? It's like this square where the red part shifts away from the black part and creates this quasi triangle. And we labeled it pushing boundaries. And we were like, wow, so then we throw this icon out on social media and people loved it. They're like, what is this? What are you guys all about? What does this mean? Is this are you anarchists? Are you? No, right? It's a symbol. And look, I don't have a tattoo of this symbol, but it's what we believe, right? It's like, how do we shift the walls for kids, for school leaders, for educators, for teachers, for us to step back and reflect and be like, can we do things differently than we've done to improve what we can do for kids?
Yeah. And
then we started to just reach out to people, and people were like, hey, can we be a part of that? What can we do to be a part of that? And we're like, at first we were like, well, it's a PLN, right? It's like a group of common thought leaders who have like-minded ideas about changing education. So Eric Francis, whom we think is just an absolute genius, right? He wrote, Now That's a Good Question. We've got Eric Nichols. We've got Rochelle Poth. We've got Rachel Mann. We've got this guy named Linebacker Dad, and he's out in California, and he's this huge dude who like works with families on family engagement and getting dads to step up to the plate, right? So we have all these people who are starting to be part of this PLN, and we all have our special area of expertise. And we started to band together because we believe in the mission that we want to do something to push against the status quo. And that's how it started. And it's exciting because Andrew, we get emails every day of people being like, hey, what can I do to help? Or, is there anything that I can do in my state to try to push the mission forward? And there isn't a day that goes by that we don't have emails flying in or text messages or even phone calls. And I think we've got a movement. And, I think something that you and I will talk about a little bit later is that pet peeve that we have. And the pet peeve is to let things sit idle the way that they've been without reform, especially when we have data that shows it's not helping kids.
Yeah.
So that's what fires us up, right?
And pushing boundaries, and as the leaders in schools and doing things on social media, absolutely. So tell me about it, Rick. When you go into a district, when you're working with teachers, what is it that you hope that they take away from your mission?
Yeah, so they might reach out to us for some leadership training. They might ask us to come in for some instructional strategies that'll push boundaries. They might ask for we've got a gentleman, Chris Batterman, who's on our team who deals with school safety and CTE and issues that can transform a school district in so many new ways. So I feel like we've got this army of this like one-stop shop of any issue that anyone wants to tackle. We've gathered an army of force that we can deploy anybody at any moment and try to help and support a school district. So, you name the area and we can deploy somebody there to help out. And listen, I'm not trying to do a selling point, but we don't gouge people.
Mm-hmm.
We are not pushing boundaries doesn't mean we're going to gouge people. And we're not looking to fatten our pockets. We're doing okay. We're paying our bills. We're fine. We all have jobs. We do it, but this is that extra passion, right? It's that extra, we're going to really push this system and do our best. So the passion is more important than the profit. So we're excited about that, and we just want to be at people's beck and call for any services that they need.
Well, I could sense the passion in your voice and in your mannerisms, and you're getting fired up here.
Man, I am. I'm fired up, and it's late at night. I'm fired up. I'm ready for bed, man. I teach all day, and I'm getting old, man. I'm tired.
Not getting any younger. I hear you.
Yeah, man.
So, Rick, we are live on Facebook on Be Live, and if you are watching live, please leave us a question, comment for Rick, something that he's saying that you'd like to comment on, or a question, and we'll try to get that on the show. Rick, in looking at the work that you are doing with you and Rebecca, you have a lot of book projects that you've already done, but you have 2 new projects coming out right now, 2 new books, Leading in the Age of the Unknown. Yeah. I like the title of this next one, Stepping in Manure. I'm sure you could have named it something else, but those are awesome titles here. Tell me about these upcoming projects.
So let me start with Stepping in Manure, which originally started out being called Stepping in Shit, but we thought, maybe that's a little too bold. We'll say manure.
Yeah, you want to get it down into the elementary school.
You know what I mean, right? So, that's something that we want to help parents with their own manifesto to help their children know that falters, right, mistakes, barriers, adversity, things that will step in their way, those are learning pivot points. And we want to show through research that actually children who have the greatest adversity in their lives and who can conquer and move forward past those adversities are kids who are better prepared for life. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to overgeneralize, right? But we're finding in some of our initial research that kids who can work through adversity will be better prepared as adults to deal with any profession in any area, to better deal with adversity. And we call it stepping in manure, you know? And actually that's something that's that we put on the sidelines temporarily because of two other works. And one is certainly Leading in the Age of the Unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all about like, oh man, this is just, wait do you see this, Andrew? This sucker is gonna blow your mind. It is about the partnership between industry and education.
Yeah.
Which right now, it's taboo.
Mm-hmm.
People are not inviting IBM to the table when we make educational decisions. Mm-hmm. People are not inviting in other companies and industry to sit and co-plan and be co-decision makers to help kids get ready for what's out there after formal schooling. Mm-hmm. So we are basically saying that in the mock cover of our book shows this little girl's hand holding a robotic hand, right? It's how are we going to work alongside technology to embrace it, utilize it, learn from it, and move forward to create a better planet for all of us. And that involves industry stepping into education. And we need to be open to that. And that's what we contend through our research.
I love it, Rick. I think it's great, and the work you're doing. Rick, how are you managing all this? You're back to teaching now. We're going to get to that question in a moment. Yeah. You have a family. You have a group here that's impacting education. You're traveling. You're speaking. How are you managing all these things? You're on podcasts at night here. Tell me about managing your time and getting into all these ideas and the work for it.
You know, it's kind of like this. So one of my best friends I grew up with, went through high school with, his name is Jeff. Best friends forever, right? He'll go play a round of golf. He'll spend 4 to 5 hours out on the golf course. I gave up golf. I'm more passionate about writing. So while this dude is out on the golf course, I'm in my home office and I'm just like, I've got like two index, like I can't even type, normally I haven't taken a typing course. I got these two index fingers, man. I'm just pounding on the keyboard. And those are my 4 to 6 hours on my golf course. And I'm just crunching it out, man. And I love every minute of it. It's just awesome. It's invigorating. It's you know what? It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, right, Andrew, you crunch these two index fingers, all of a sudden you got a manuscript. And you're crunching these two index fingers, all of a sudden you're looking at research, right? You're making connections, you're just getting all pumped up, and you're like, oh, this is awesome, man. And that's my golf outing, dude. So that's what I'm doing. My wife, my kids are very supportive with all the work that I do. They create space for me to do my thing, but I still show up at all my kids' hockey games, all my girls' dance recitals, pick them up, drop them off, right? We're highly active with our kids so that they can get the activities that they love. And it's about balance. And I remember just pulling all-nighters because I couldn't sleep because I had this like big thought that I wanted to get down on a Google Doc. So that's how I balance it, man. It's just like this, and don't get me wrong. Some days I have no idea in my mind to write, and I'll take a couple days off until something comes to me, and I'll be like, oh man, I'm going into my office at 2 a.m. I'm just going to blast it out, baby. And that's how I balance it, right? You get these B12 shots, and you got to just pump it up and run with it.
I love it, Rick. Your enthusiasm is contagious, and the ideas. I love in Dave Burgess's book, Teach Like a Pirate. He talks about opening your RAS to ideas, right? And once you kind of open it, the ideas keep coming. So, is it you get the concept to write the book first? and then the ideas come, or do you just kind of start writing and then the book forms? How does that happen for you?
Yeah, and I don't want to be commercialized right now, but I do want to do a shout out to my publisher and friend Dave Burgess and Shelly Burgess with Dave Burgess Consulting. Love you guys, man. You have given us so many opportunities in what you do. You guys push boundaries in your own right. I'm so proud to be a pirate, and I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. But getting to your question, I've got this weird process that I follow, and it's going to sound a little whacked, Andrew. But I'm going to tell you that. So here's what I do. I like sit in a room and I think about what I'm most passionate about at that moment. And then I'll create a title for a book. And then I'll create a mock cover for a book. And then I'll print that sucker out and I'll put it in a frame and hang it on my wall. And that will be the project that I continue until it's completed, until the next one. But sometimes there's a few that go on at the same time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, holy shit, I've got all these frames all over my freaking house. And my wife's like, what are you working on? Like,
where's our wedding picture?
Yeah, that's right. So I do this kind of bass-ackwards process where I create the concept, design, and I put it up on the wall, because that in itself is a motivational for me. And until I get it done, it sits up on that wall, and then I blast it out and I'm done with it.
I mean, there's a visual there. It's a goal, right? And
yeah.
You're putting it right there in front of you. Is that a formal literary term, bass-ackwards? Is that formal? You teach that in the 9th grade curriculum?
Yeah, well, it came from the movie A Perfect World with Kevin Costner, where he was driving around the country. I don't know if you saw that movie, and he said backwards. And I was like, damn, I like that. That's cool, man. I'm using it.
Kevin, I'm putting rights on that. Rick, I love it. Your enthusiasm is just terrific. Rick, in looking at your bio and the work you're doing in education, I'm telling you, it's terrific. But you've gone from teacher to assistant principal to superintendent, and you decided to come back to the classroom. Tell me about that journey. And then in our pre-show talk, you said it right. Like, some people think it's a mythical climb up the ladder, but you're back to where your real passion is with kids and writing and English. Tell me about that journey.
Yeah, I started my career in the classroom. Absolutely loved it. But listen, you know how it goes, right? Somebody taps you on the shoulder. They're like, hey, why don't you try this leadership position and go get your leadership degree? You'd be a great assistant principal, right? Okay, I'll try it, right? So then, I'll try that. Then you get another tap on the shoulder. You've been doing this for a few years. You'd be a great principal. Okay, I'll give it a shot, right? It's time for central office for you, Rick. I never really thought, okay, right? So as an assistant superintendent, there was some adversity that my superintendent faced. And there was a ton of it. That's a story in itself. It was an absolute nightmare. So then people looked at me, Rick, you gotta be the rock. You gotta help us out. You gotta help this district. Go be the superintendent for us. Help us out, right? So then, okay. But then the ego started. Then my head grew larger, right? I'm going to save this district. I'm going to help all this nepotism going on. I'm going to get rid of teachers who are wronging kids. I'm going to clean this place up, right? And it led me down a negative path because I created a war to get rid of what I thought were toxic people. And I only crashed and burned, man.
Yeah.
I crashed and burned, dude. And I was so beat up. I made bad decisions on my own. I created this war. But there is one thing I'm proud of, and I will never regret it. the decision that I made to I had to place someone on administrative leave who was bullying students and staff. Here's what happened, man. That person was related to a few board members. Mom and sister-in-law were on the board. And right there, dude, it was all out. It was World War X, dude. And I started to self-medicate. I started to crash and burn. At that point, I couldn't even think straight, and I left. I resigned.
Yeah.
I went into industry for a few years. I worked for a really great company, designing curriculum and getting back on my feet. And I got healthy again. I had balance in my life. And at that point, listen to this, dude. So that company goes bankrupt. So I'm unemployed this last March. So I thought, listen, I had a long discussion with my wife. I said, I got to do something that's meaningful.
Yeah.
And at that point, I went back to my roots, man. I'm back in the classroom. And I want to do a shout out to Maritime Charter School. I love you guys. I love my students. After we have a recess or a day off, I tell my kids I missed you. And but I'm telling you, man, I'm getting old, man. It's high octane. And I come back, I just flop down on the couch for a little while when I get home, take a quick nap, but it's worth it, man. These kids they rock my world. They are awesome. Awesome.
That is an amazing story, Rick, and I appreciate your candidness, that it wasn't for you and you got caught up in some stuff that wasn't for you. And but I appreciate you sharing that story. That a lot of people can learn from that, because I agree with you. I don't think it's moving up the ladder.
Yeah.
I've been a principal now 14 years, 7 as AP, and people have asked that question. My hesitation, and I want to be around the kids, right? You want to be around the kids. You want to be in the building, the energy of the building. So I can relate a little bit to what you shared there. But thanks for sharing that, man. That was powerful.
No, I have no problem talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't have PTSD anymore. I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Well, you're writing and you're doing your passions. So, Rick, that leads to the next question, because I wanted to ask you about this, because I only just started the dunk tank. But
Yeah.
was that experience? Did that generate the thought in writing the dunk tank? Is that where that kind of inspiration came from?
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't send you a free copy, man. I apologize for that. I'm embarrassed that I didn't send one out to you.
That's all good, man. You gotta feed your family. Buying those books.
At one point I met Rebecca Coda, my co-author and business partner. She's a sister to me.
Yeah.
An amazing lady. And we both experienced adversity in our career. So again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I crafted this idea, right? I crafted this title. I put an initial, cover page together and framed it. And I said, I want to help anybody who is going through adversity in their career, or if they're not already, they can prepare for it, because most likely down the road, they're going to come into contact with some adversity, right?
Something's going to happen. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Rebecca reached out to me, and that's a story in itself. And I said, listen, Rebecca, you want to write this thing with me? And she's like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Let's do this. So we crunched out that manuscript in about 42 days, maybe 43 days.
Wow.
And we interviewed hundreds of school leaders across the nation. And we received stories of adversity. Dude, you would not believe the stories that we heard from these people. And some of them aren't in the book, but many are. And we compiled their actual narratives of verbatim of what they told us.
Wow.
And we used it as a training guide to help others see the different emotional impacts and adversarial tactics that others use against people, right? People want to see you fail, and there's reasons why they want to see you fail. Sometimes they just may not like you. Sometimes they may want a loved one in the position that you're in. Sometimes they're jealous of you. Sometimes, right? So we show all the emotional driving forces. We lay out all the adversarial tactics, and we have real stories in the book from real leaders who will help us to wrap our brain around all this nonsense that's going on. And that's our way of pushing on the elephant, that political elephant, that it's so taboo, people don't want to talk about it.
Sure.
But we did. And there are some states who have invited us to speak, and there are some who haven't. And I'm not ridiculing them, but I'm saying that we've got to grab this elephant by the trunk. We've got to push on it, and it's only going to help us to be better leaders.
And Rick, I only just started it. Is it positive? Are the stories positive, the outcomes, or is it, so much kind of the stuff you had talked about, the bad things that happen in education sometimes?
It's an absolute nightmare in part 1 of the book. It is a disaster zone. But we have part 2, which is how do leaders prevail with all this chaos? We've had reviews come in and people are like, wow, this is so dark and dismal, until I read later on about all the positive things that we can do to be better leaders to address these issues. So I'm not going to lie, man, it is a complete train wreck when you start getting into this thing. But we show you how to prevail. We give you tools to feel successful, tools to balance your career and life. And we hit people with a B12 shot by the end of the book for sure.
Cool. Well, I'm going to look forward to getting into that.
Bad if we didn't. Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, I give you credit again for putting your story out there and telling the story that you just did, because a lot of people might not want to talk about that because they might consider it a failure,
Yeah.
But look at the work you're doing now and the impacting kids and your passions. It sounds terrific.
I'm excited, man. It's good to be alive and healthy.
Cool. Rick, how about, what is something that you've taken back with you into the classroom? Again, you've been an assistant principal, an assistant superintendent, a superintendent. There's a lot of leadership things that you've learned, and you had some negative experiences, but I know there was some positives on the way and things you picked up. What are some things that now have made you a better teacher that you're back into teaching 9th grade English?
As naive as I was as a superintendent, I'd be pushing down these policies and expectations, right? We've got to do this. We've got to do that. We're going to do this. We are accountable for that. And I was pushing all these things down, right, to hold staff accountable. And I had no clue what they were feeling. And I had no clue what they were going through. And I had no clue what they felt about all this. Some of it was junk. And it was just a means to document and, and it was maybe for just reporting to the Board of Education or just for my own ego that I'm seeing everybody's doing their job, right? But now I'm in the classroom and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do to those teachers? I was pushing things down that I didn't get feedback from them about before we collectively decided that would be something very important for us to move forward with, or something that's nonsense and we shouldn't waste our time about. So I've gotten this like greater lens of the garbage that I've asked people to do that should be weeded out, and some of the good things that we should still do. And I'm sifting through what's nonsense and what's important. And the more we distill our positive practices and intentional practices for kids, the better off they're going to do, and the more effective our teachers are going to be without burning them out, right? Without them walking out of the building thinking like, oh my God, he wants me to do this, I got to do that, I got to write this report, and what am I doing this for? And so I'm more in tune to what I used to do to people, and now how I can mitigate that and handle that on my own based on what matters, right? what really matters?
You know, it's great to listen to this, Rick. I have a conference day coming up in my school district, Port Jervis, New York. And one of the activities we're going to do, I don't know how tidy your office is with all your frames all over, but we've been watching that Marie Kondo tidying show.
Yeah, you're right.
So one of the activities we're going to do in my school, what should we tidy up? What are some things that we do just because we've always done it? And should it go away, right? What does Marie Kondo say? If it doesn't bring joy to your life, yeah. So we're going to do that activity. That's great perspective.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I wish I could be there. When are you doing that, man?
Yeah, we're coming up here, March 4th. March 4th is our last conference day. Yeah.
That's great.
So I'll send you a clip.
I'd love to drive out, man.
Yeah. Hey, just hop, skip, and a jump from the Buffalo area.
It is.
Rick, let's get rolling to rapid fire. It's getting late. You got tests to grade. You got school tomorrow morning. I feel like you and I could talk all night.
Yeah.
You got a lot going on, so these are quick answers. How about the last book you read yourself?
Unselfie by Michelle Borba.
Unselfie.
Oh man. Wait, I've got it right here. Got it under a stack. Right there. Okay. It's probably backwards on camera, right?
No, it's looking good. Why empathetic kids succeed in our something. That's blocked off there. Yeah, but very cool. Okay.
Why empathetic kids succeed in our all about me world. Michelle Borba is just absolutely brilliant. And she goes into the role about this this all about me lifestyle that our children are starting to get into. And it's not about it's not an anti-cell phone type of thing. It's just this whole I am the center of the earth philosophy that some of our students are getting into. And she does a great job to give parent strategies and educator strategies, even though it's not an educational book. That might be something you want to look at for your parent group.
Mm-hmm.
It is wild. And Michelle Borba, I want to do a shout out to you. She is amazing, just an amazing thought leader. Social emotional learning. She's one of the best. She's one of the best.
Awesome. Got it down here. Unselfie. Last movie you saw?
A Few Good Men for the 13th time.
Whoa. What's that relationship about?
I don't know. You know what? I have a stepson who's in the Navy. He may become an officer as of next month. I'm so proud of him. Just love him. Tim, shout out to you. Love you, man. And he's stationed in Japan with my my daughter-in-law and my two grandsons.
Wow.
I am so proud of him and A Few Good Men. I just absolutely I've loved that movie for years.
Is that Jack Nicholas?
What's that?
Jack Nicholas, Tom Cruise?
Oh yeah, Demi Moore, Kevin Bacon, Tom Cruise.
You want me on that wall.
You need me on that wall.
You need me.
They need us on that educational wall, man.
Did you order the code red? Good flip. Yeah, they need you on that educational wall. You bring that energy.
Time, baby.
You just came back from Texas. Where's your favorite place to travel, Rick?
I did a keynote for the Nevada Administrators Association, and that was this summer in Lake Tahoe.
Ooh.
And Lake Tahoe, if our viewers aren't familiar with Lake Tahoe, it is the most tranquil area. There is this respect that people have for the lake. There's no noise around it. People walk with their dogs. The dogs don't bark. People are doing yoga. There's no trash. There's like this respect for the lake, and it is absolutely gorgeous with those snow-capped mountains. And I'll never forget it.
Very cool. Lake Tahoe. How about, have you been international with your work?
Say that again?
Have you been international? Have you gone outside the United States?
No, we haven't gone outside. I think some of our work is on their radar, but it seems that some of the different countries that even some of our affiliates with Pushing Boundaries are doing work with, they're just so backlogged. They want like all these issues, and we're just not quite there yet to be on their waiting list.
Yeah. Cool.
You know how
Rick,
it goes.
what's one of the greatest challenges with pushing boundaries? What's something that is a challenge, getting things off the ground, getting things moving?
I think there are days that Rebecca and I feel like we have to do everything, and I just, we have talks and we're like, let's just chip away at it, just baby steps. We're not going to fly off the ground. We're not going to be, we're not going to be rock stars. We're not going to be famous. It's nothing like that. But we brought on a really awesome group of affiliates. We have Isaiah Sterling, who is a student affiliate. You'll find him on social media. He's our student ambassador. This kid is unbelievable. He is unbelievable. So it's that positive interdependence, right? If we all take one task and we chip away at it, the greater collective good will do great things. And we're trying to just give up this control so that everybody can chip away at one piece and we can be better together.
I like it. I like it. Obviously, writing is a passion of yours. Teaching is a passion of yours. Your family is a passion of yours. So outside of those things, what is something that motivates you?
Yeah, family, writing. Man, you got me pegged down all the way.
I mean, I can feel the writing coming through the screen. It's great.
No, you know what? I'm gonna give you a real crazy answer. You're gonna be like, what are you talking about? I'm starting to get this pizza belly. And I think I'm addicted to pizza and I need to go to rehab because when I have a slice of pizza or two, it's like I start getting all these great ideas. So I'm trying not to link pizza with my creative abilities, but I got to tell you, it's working right now. But those carbs are killing me, dude. It's like I'm walking around. Oh my god, dead and bloated, man. But it's such a stupid answer. But the carbs are pushing me to create, and I just look at. I'm from Buffalo. We live pizza and wings.
I hear you.
You just do. I mean, there's no way around it.
Yeah, yeah. I got a couple of things for you, and we could talk off air. But two of the things, I'm doing the Whole30 right now. I don't know if
are you?
We're doing it right now. So my pizza on Fridays haven't been there. And mark these down: Memorial Day to Labor Day. I'm going to do a show about the 7 C's.
Okay.
And giving up cookies, candies, cake, chocolate, chips, cola, and complaining is the 7th.
Yeah, all right, I like that.
We do that Memorial Day to Labor Day.
If you want the pizza and the cola, you're going to be like, I want the cola, man. I've had
it. Best purchase of under $100 that has had a great impact on your life.
This is going to sound so stupid, man. Your viewers are going to be like, this guy's cuckoo.
Who is this guy?
Do you have any dollar stores in your area?
Of course.
All right, so there's this dollar store in my area. It's called the Dollar Tree. And in the back, they've got a freezer section. And in that section, they've got individually wrapped Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwiches. All right? Muffin, sausage, cheese. You throw that sucker in the microwave for 60 seconds. You have instant breakfast that I grab in the car every morning. I put a picture on Instagram that I bought the whole ream. There are like 24 freaking sandwiches in that thing, right? And I just sucked them down. My kids were fighting me over them because they want a quick breakfast too. But I'm going to tell you right now, that gives you some quick energy. They're pretty healthy, and it's been the best find I've ever seen. Go buy one for $1, man. Try it out. I got to tell you, that's the best purchase that's changed my life in the morning.
We're going to have to get them to sponsor the show here.
Yeah, Jimmy Dean, baby.
I would think Jimmy Dean is competing with the pizza on the work they're doing on your belly. That's I would say they're right there. Yeah. We talked earlier about pet peeves, Rick. What is a pet peeve of yours?
Yeah, some people get mad at me about this because they push back on when I say this, and I'll explain that in a second. It drives me crazy when people fly under the radar so they don't face any adversity, just kind of push the papers, get things done, keep things quiet, lay low. Oh no, I don't want to hit that piñata. That's going to be bad for me. That drives me freaking nuts, man, right? So here's the pushback though, and I've got to recognize this and reflect on this. There could be reasons why people have to resort to that. It could be a supervisor that's out to get you. It could be somebody, right? It could be a parent group who might be out to get you. It could be somebody in your staff that might be out. So I get that. But the bottom line is you either step up and you do what's right, or you just fly under the radar and you're no more effective than somebody who isn't even sitting in that chair.
Yeah. The fixed mindset, the staying in the box.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And it's safe, right?
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
How about being a speaker, Rick? You speak all over the country. How about the 3 most important qualities about being a speaker?
High energy.
You got that.
Content that people can use, right? Usability. And they've got to see you love what you do. If they look at, people can tell if you're just shooting stones at them, right? Just like, oh yeah, hey, here's what you can do. They got to see that, right? They got to see the passion. They got to see, man, I'm so glad to be here, right? It's the passion and the preparedness and content that's going to mean something, not just this useless stuff that sounds good and it's all nice commercial, great job, nice keynote. It's got to be usable, and it's got to be relevant, and you got to hit them with high energy, man.
Yeah.
And it's like that Ferris Bueller. It's like, right? It's like Bueller, right? No, come on, man. Get this guy the hook, right? Get him off the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what speaking's all about. And I'm just so honored to be with Rebecca when we do our stuff. I'm the nutty one, and she's this polished professional. Just wait. Oh, if you heard her speak, she's just like seamless. And I'm all over the place. I'm like walking around the crowd. I'm like, what do you think? Right? But it's a fun balance. And I think it's a lot of fun that we are 2 different styles. And I really am so honored to be in the place that I am.
Yeah. Well, I'm having fun today. I don't know if I've ever laughed so much on the podcast. So, yeah, this is great. Rick, how about a short-term goal, 3 to 5 months?
Short-term goal. I want to help I'm with a student teacher right now, Brendan Doherty. Shout out to you, buddy. You're doing great. I want to do my best to be the best mentor that I can be for you. That's the short-term goal. I know you're only with me for a little while, buddy. It's an honor for me to work with you. So a shout out to you, my man. Long-term goal. We're going to crunch out some more books, man. I'm going to shove down those breakfast sandwiches and get some more energy and just keep banging them out. And something else, Andrew, that I didn't mention, I'm writing my own manuscript called The Veteran Rookie. And it's about a teacher at any point in their career, first-year teacher, 20-year teacher, and it's about reflection, support, and mentorship at any stage of where you are. And I'm going to flush that baby out. That's another long-term goal. I'm excited about that.
Well, the way you work, it's not going to be very long. How about the bigger goal, Rick? 3 to 5 years, 3 to 7 years. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see pushing boundaries go? Where do you see yourself going?
I think that's something that will either catch on or it won't. And if it doesn't, we're going to keep moving forward and we're not going to deviate. And who knows? Maybe I can come out to Port Jarvis and be one of your employees someday.
We'll bring the energy. I love it. We'll take it. When are you coming?
Whatever, man. I'll make the journey.
We got great pizza in our town.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right, I'll bring some of our Buffalo style. We'll compare, brother.
There you go. Rick, how can people get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing? What would be the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, we are a couple of things, right? So you can find me anywhere at Rick Jetter, 2 T's. 1 T would make me a bat boy with my brother Derek, and I'd have a whole other career. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, where you name it. But look up Pushing Boundaries. I think people have a little fun and check out some of the great work that our crew is doing. Not because I'm looking to do a commercial for us, but wait till you see some of these people, man. They are wicked cool, and I just want to do a shout out to them. I love you guys. You guys are your boundary pushers. You're boundary pushers.
Very cool. And Rick, I didn't ask you ahead of the show. Do you have a favorite quote? Do you have a mantra of yours that you go by? What would be a quote to end the show?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to my career trajectory, which put teacher at the top of that after superintendent. They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds.
Wow.
Mexican proverb, baby.
Yeah, I like that. I'll jot that down. They tried to bury us.
They didn't know we were seeds.
Rick, I'm telling you what, I pride myself on having the most energy. Tomorrow when I go into school, I want to be the most energetic person there. You might be hard to top.
Dude, just eat one of those breakfast sandwiches.
You're giving away your secret to Jimmy Dean.
Just shove it between 2 pizza slices and 2 donuts.
And I don't know if that'll fall into the whole 30 right there. I don't know if that's going to make the cut. Rick, you were a blast to be with here. We're going to wrap up here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. I really enjoyed talking with you. We're definitely going to connect some more, and I look forward to meeting Rebecca.
Thanks, my friend. Love you, man. It's my honor. I had a great time with you. You're awesome.
This was cool. Let's get this music queued up here. It's my little theme song. Do you feel that energy in this?
I loved it, man. It was good.
Like that? Let's get this going here.
Get it going. Yeah.
Rick Jetter, everyone. Oh, this thing's going to jam on. Hold on. There we go. We're going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, Beyond. Dr. Rick did a great job. If you like the show, give us a positive review on iTunes and certainly on Twitter at Andrew Murata 21. Leave us a comment if you watch tonight. And thanks for tuning in, everyone. Go out and change the world for the better. Thanks, Dr. Rick.
Thank you very much, my friend.
All right, hang tight. I'll be right with you.
Thanks.